Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is October the 19th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. The day has been going well. I will say I'm pretty sure the sniffles I have are just like a little bit of like a background cold or something like that. Not too bad, but definitely just something in like the back of my nose, back of my throat. So not so fun. A little bit of a cough. But hey, also it's annoying to get like back to back colds. Like last month, right after my birthday, I got one. And I was like, okay, all right. And now we're getting another one. But I also have to remind myself that, like, hey, that's a nature is healing thing. I think coming back off of COVID, I remember that year was so nice because I maybe got one or two colds that year, which is so much different than getting, like, I don't know, 4 to 5 colds in a season. So, it is what it is. Also, I feel like my body and my process has gotten better at just getting through the colds in terms of like, how I like to get through it with like the routine and trying to stay, hydrated and all the yada yada yada. But, overall, like I said, it's not been too much of a hang up. We went to the gym today and went well. Nothing too crazy happened. Let's see here. Oh, I will say, shout out to Scooters because after I went to the gym, I was like, you know what? I want a coffee. I want a good coffee. I don't feel like making it. And there's been this little like I want to call it like a pop up because it's just a little shop kind of thing, and kind of just drive through, get a coffee. I think it's coffee and tea. I don't know if they have a little food or something like that. I wasn't interested, but I was like, let's try this coffee out. So I went, and actually pretty good, and also good customer service. You always got to appreciate, when the people behind the counter are like really nice, and that's always cool. And even if they aren't, it's just the mere efficiency, things like that. So it's always cool to call that out in a good way. So yeah, that was my morning, my afternoon, because we're still in the afternoon now as recording this. But let's see. Food corner last night, bit interesting, bit of a twist. I made my Korean fried chicken. We had the garlic bag this time again. Let's see. Everything was pretty routine except I added some tortilla, just some tortillas again, to the meal, to the mix. And then let's see, what else did I do? I put some red and green salsa, and I also had some like nacho cheese on the side, and I put the red and green salsa on the egg roll. So that like the egg rolls I had, which was like okay, a little bit of a different flavor. I wouldn't say I loved that part, but it was fine. I would eat it again. Let's see here. Was there anything else weird or random about it? No, not really. But overall, it like came together. I will say because of like the fried chicken nature and the rice, it really doesn't form well to making good tacos. So that wasn't super duper fun. But like it overall tasted fine. They all went down the same. So that was good. But yeah, so overall, a good meal, good dining experience at my house, Casa de Edwards, whatever. I don't know. Let's see here. Really, not much else to report or blog about, so we can go ahead and do our startup, and we can get into some news. Ooh, I'm definitely enjoying like being back in a hoodie again. I just want to mention that. Like this is the best part of the year for me season wise, but I feel like I always have this pending sense of dread now that I'm older because I just hate the winter so much. But it is nice. It's nice to just be comfy, cozy in your house. It's not too cold. It's just definitely not hot. You're not sweating. I hate sweating. I hate it. But like, it's just nice to just be at a nice temperature in your own domicile. Granted, it still is a bit nippy, at least in my house. But also it's nice that the weather is like nice, not cloudy. It's good. At least where I'm at. All right. Our first story comes from the Associated Press. Let me get up to the title. A drone targets the Israeli prime minister's house while strikes in Gaza kill more than 50 people. Israel's government said a drone targeted Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's house Saturday with no casualties, as fighting with Lebanon-based Hezbollah and Gaza-based Hamas show no pause. There's, some more there, but they just do the old, rigmarole of telling you, about October 7th. We can scroll ahead here. More or less out of that situation, the prime minister and his wife, they weren't in. I'm not even sure if the targets even hit any of the destination, and I don't have any confirmation of that. But there weren't any casualties or any kind of injuries out of anything. They were, like I said, they weren't around. They weren't in the house. Another thing I wanted to get to is the other part of that article. In Gaza, Israeli forces fired at hospitals in the Palestinian enclave's battered north, and strikes killed more than 50 people, including children, in less than 24 hours, according to hospital officials and an Associated Press reporter. Also, to backtrack, I guess, a little bit in terms of who sent the drone? Probably Hezbollah, or Iran through Hezbollah. I don't really think it matters, though. It wasn't successful, so who gives a shit, right? You can kind of just move along. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of retaliation from Israel because of the attempt, but, whatever. There was one more thing I want to try to see if I can find here and talk about real quick. Hopefully I didn't go past it. Here we go. Yes. 3 houses in Jabalia were struck overnight, killing at least 30 people, more than half women and children, said Fariz Abu Hamza, head of the health ministry's ambulance and emergency service. At least 80 were wounded. So I felt like that was another important part that I wanted to mention. But we can go ahead and move along to some good news if it loads up for us. A little technical difficulties here. Bear with me. From CNN, tentative deal announced to end Boeing strike. So there we go. Clap it up. Clap it up. A tentative deal has been reached to end the 5-week-long strike at troubled aircraft maker Boeing. The union announced to its 33,000 striking members early Saturday. The deal still needs to be ratified by a majority of its rank-and-file membership of the International Association of Machinists. I'm sticking with machinists. I think it is that. Before it can take effect and workers can return to work. The union will hold a vote on Wednesday. Let's see here. Where are we getting to the perks? Where are we getting here? The union said it would offer a 25 would offer increased wages of 35% over the 4-year life of the contract, as opposed to, I think, the 25 they initially offered. It will also increase company contributions to members of its 401k plans, which is a plus. That's good. Although it will not restore the traditional the traditional pension plan that was taken away from union members 10 years ago. Many union members expressed anger over the loss of the pensions, which makes perfect valid sense, and I think that is a huge loss in this conversation, which maybe it holds it up in terms of being ratified come Wednesday, but who knows. It does seem like, hey, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Also, a third thing worth mentioning, they are getting a bigger, I believe, sign-on bonus, so that's good. There was initially a $3,000 signing bonus, and now there is a $7,000 one. So that, there are improvements. There also are more losses, I think, too, that aren't being mentioned, or maybe I'm going to be wrong here. Maybe I have to issue a correction. But it doesn't seem like, because we've talked about this in a previous episode, that they were also fighting for some of the union protections on planes getting made, where it's like, hey, you need to allow us to make this plane because this is one that you have the unions working on, and you're talking about discontinuing making these planes, and we need you to not do that. I don't hear that in this conversation, so that might be a situation that might have gotten scrapped, and that those jobs might be on the line there. That's a potentially frustrating thing. I can understand that. But, I hope that this is overall considered good, and, everybody can kind of get back to doing what they're doing, you know. But I mean, obviously, none of this gets Boeing off the fucking hook. I do like, though, that this article kind of mentions how big Boeing really is. That it's just like them and the European Airbus as in terms of like the biggest guys in the room. Like, you know, that's part of the reason why China in and of themselves are like saying, hey, we want to try to make our own shit. You know, that if you can do that, then you want to try to do that. And Russia, you know, they try to scrap together what they can do, you know, to keep their shit sustainable and running. But it's one of those things where it's like Boeing really can, like, they just have this runway to fuck up. You know what I mean? Because like we've talked about this before, like how literally 2 planes have gone down, multiple people have died. You know, there's been so much shit from like last year with Boeing shit, you know, hitting the fucking fan or hitting other Boeing planes, and then yada yada yada. I mean, grant some of that you don't blame Boeing, of course, but like in terms of doing third party, you know, construction of these fucking airplanes, doing very limited safety checks. And like you have literally missing bolts to fuselages or whatever the fuck, or fuselage covers and things of that nature. And little kids are getting their shirts sucked off. Like, that's not good press. These are the kind of things that would literally cripple and just completely maim a company. They wouldn't be able to get up from that. But once again, you really kind of have to remind yourself what a flying Leviathan Boeing really is. And when they shifted the model from being about quality and being the pedigree standard and saying, no, we want to make sure that we make money and only money, 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 money for our shareholders, for the people up at the fucking top, the whole conversation changed, you know? And they're still dealing with ramifications of that. And they probably always will, because I don't think that the powers that be really want to change that model back to focusing on the quality. Because then you could do that. Like, you have the tools to do it. You just don't want to. So, you know, that being said, I know I'm in the weeds. I'm away from the main conversation here. But this, I hope, is good news. We'll see. You know, come Wednesday, if it gets ratified, I don't know. Maybe I come back and talk about it again. Maybe not, if it's not. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll definitely try to keep you posted. Now, in Listeria Gate, we have more fucking cases. It's crazy. From CBS News, frozen waffles sold at Target, Walmart, and other major retailers recalled over listeria risk. Now, I want to preface, if I did wind up actually covering this already, and it was in that big PDF loadout already, then my bad, mea culpa. But I don't think so. This was like announced Friday, some of this stuff. So I think these are new cases. It's also, I noticed a big focus on waffles, frozen waffles. More than 500 varieties of frozen waffles manufactured by Treehouse Foods and sold under major store brands such as Walmart's Great Value and Target's Good and Gather have been recalled because they might be contaminated with listeria. They go through a list of a bunch of products here on the article. I'm going to just breeze past them. Just a reminder of, like, you know, what listeria does, you know, how it works. Listeria infections typically cause fever, muscle aches, and fatigue, and may cause stiff neck, confusion, loss of balance, and convulsions. Symptoms can occur quickly or up to 10 weeks after eating contaminated food. The infections are especially dangerous for older people, those with weakened immune systems, or those who are pregnant. So, obviously, a big deal, big concern. Crazy that we're seemingly getting more and more cases since post, like, Boar's Head. You know what I mean? So definitely icky, definitely a little sticky, gross situation here. You know, it'd be a shame if you're over here trying to have I want to make the Eggo joke, but I don't think that they're actually implicated here. But, you know, next thing you know, you're like, oh, I'm dying. Like, that would be terrible. That would suck. Your stiff neck. So they go through, like, all of them in the article, no PDF, just laying out raw. But I guess I want to go ahead and put the number here. Consumers with any questions can contact the company at 800-596-2903, Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So God help you if you have questions on a Saturday. Just fuck off. But yeah, they have a whole list of the brands and the waffles below. We're not going to go through all that. It would take us all day. So we're going to go ahead and mosey onto our last story. You know, some people thought it was a bear of a tale. Turns out it's just true crime. And it's true crime right the fuck now. So this is from, I believe, CNN. Yes, but let's go ahead and take our last break and we'll go ahead and cover it. Oh my. Oh me, oh my. Ooh, okay. All right. A 911 caller thought his friend was the victim of a bear attack. Police now say it was a homicide. The last time anyone heard from Dustin Kjersem. Also, I gotta pause here. I'm saying this name confidently, but that's because I'm believing that the K and the J here are some kind of weird silence thing, you know? So we're just gonna say that it's Kjersem for this. And if it's something else, my bad. But Justin Kjersem was the afternoon of October 10th when he climbed into his black Ford F-150 and headed to a remote campsite in the Montana wilderness. He had made plans to meet a friend the next day for a weekend of camping and other outdoor activities. When he didn't show up, his friend went looking for him and made a gruesome discovery. On Saturday morning, the friend called 911 and said he'd found Kjersem's bloodied body in a tent about 2.5 miles up Moose Creek Road, east of Big Sky. He told the dispatcher that Kjersem appeared to be the victim of a bear attack, but authorities are now saying that they think Kjersem was murdered. An autopsy determined the 35-year-old suffered multiple chop wounds, sheriff deputies say, and they're urging anyone with information to come forward. This is a homicide, and we are working all hours of the day and night to find his killer. Galatian County, I'm gonna say Galatian because if it's Gallatin, that's crazy. Galatian County Sheriff Dan Springer said at a news conference on Wednesday. He was brutally killed at his campsite, and we need your help, Springer added. So if you're out in the woods, you need to remain vigilant. He also added that, or at least, I don't know, the department added, if you have any camera footage along the route that in that area, I guess, of Moose Creek, they want that as well to potentially, see if maybe the killer or, anything took place on that. But let's see here. Kjersem was a gifted builder and hardworking handyman who could pour foundations, frame houses, and install countertops, his sister, Julian Price, said. She implored anyone with information to help find her sibling's killer. This weekend, we lost our brother, our son, our uncle, our best friend, and our dad in the most unimaginable way, she said at the news conference. He was a loving, helpful, and adoring father who in no way deserves this. Let's see here. Excuse me. Kjersem left his home in Belgrade, Montana last Thursday in his truck, which had a black topper and a silver aluminum ladder rack, authorities said. He last contacted his family that afternoon, then he went quiet. He brought lots of equipment for his weekend outdoors, authorities said. Kjersem's friend, who authorities did not identify, told them he found his body around 10 a.m. on Saturday. After the 911 call, investigators from several agencies, including a bear expert from Montana Department of Fish and Wildlife and Parks, examined the site but did not find any signs of bear activity. Springer said investigators don't know what weapon was used, but we do know it was something hard enough to cause significant damage to the skull as well as some flesh areas of the body. They also add, hey, we don't know what's going on, and, maybe there is a threat to the community. I actually really appreciate when sheriffs or, anyone in the investigation team, from law enforcement is just straight up honest, and they say that. Because sometimes I've covered stories where they don't do that, and I understand, maybe you don't want to give tip of the hat to the killer or anything like that, but I feel like it's very important to make sure that people are aware of what's going on. And I definitely don't think you want to ever put out a false sense of security for the populace because, what if this guy is dangerous for real? What if there is something, you maybe you want to keep that open, but obviously you don't want to instill panic. I do get it. I do understand it. It's just one of those things where I go, ooh, that's just such a tricky thing to navigate. And maybe once again, I from my armchair go, man, I would rather be told what's going on so I could be properly, I don't know, aware, but oftentimes that means I'm just going to be scared as fuck and maybe overact or do something stupid. So who knows, what have you. But that being said, this is an interesting, case unfolding in Moose Creek. Hopefully, I can come at you guys with some updates and better information. Hopefully, we find the killer. But yeah, very, very scary, very unfortunate situation. Because essentially you were just gonna go out and have a good time in the outdoors, and next thing you know, you're just getting and dude did such a crazy job that people really thought it was just a bear on site, and it's like, nah, man, this is like a Jason Voorhees situation, goddamn. But yeah, that's really all I have for today. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, isaiahnews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Please subscribe to the YouTube, really helps out there. Leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. Feel free to flip it and reverse it on any of the other platforms that you are listening on. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.